Hey, welcome back to another Reality Kid Gamers Jedi Academy. I'm Ranger J 1999, one of your hosts from the RSG crew, and welcome to the Jedi Academy. What's the Jedi Academy, you say? Well, that's a Q&A show where we answer all your Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes questions and try to make sense of what it all means. Welcome, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. If you have questions, the way it works, this is a Q&A show, so if you have a question, go ahead and put that question into chat, and good old Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman himself, will be scooping up the question and getting it to us, and we will try to answer it to the best of our abilities. Dr. Finn, how are you today?
I am doing quite well this morning. How about you, Ranger?
All right, you must have some Twinkies.
No, actually, dulce de leche pancakes from Denny's.
Wow, okay.
With bacon and eggs and hash browns.
Well,
It is a good...
your stomach will pay you back later.
It'll make me fall asleep probably by the end of Jedi Academy.
I'm talking about afterwards. I foresee much pain in your future. Also join us, we've got the one and only Stoner Jedi. The Stoner Jedi there.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, it helps if you actually respond to Stoner Jedi when we say, hey, look, it's Stoner Jedi. Is he doing this on purpose, Dr. Finn?
I don't know, but I love it either way.
God. And that's what we got right now. It seems like everybody's really busy this weekend. Team Money went to Mexico. I don't know where Remon is. He's probably driving somewhere for a setup. Warrior's probably on vacation. It's just like Mike. I don't know where Mike is.
Mike is watching the game.
Oh, that's right. England's playing
Sweden.
Oh, yeah, he's got his two daughters there, Sweary and Fishy Feet, and they're probably cussing and screaming at the screen. In fact, I should find out what channel that's on to see how it is. So when something happens, I go like, I just felt Mike's tears roll down his face. Try to see if I can find it. Let's see if it's on right now. It should be. Well, if I could ever learn how to use a remote. Let's see, is it here? Aha, it is the FIFA World Cup. Let's see what the score is. Oh, no score yet, so no tears. Who are they playing? So it's Sweden versus England. It's England, Finn.
No, Hans Bricks.
No, Hans Bricks. No. So, all right. So we will try to answer your questions as best we can. Oh Lord. Let's see here. Let me get me set up. Hope everyone's having a good day. We will try to rock and roll the best we can. Why is this being stupid?
I can go through some of the RSG announcements while you're getting that ready.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
So, first podcast. Podcast is being updated here. I am caught up through the 27th, so the end of the middle of last week. End of this weekend should be caught up fully. It's been downloading all of the files and everything, so I can make it all. I can put everything up there. So those are being caught up. So there's that. God, it's been such a hangover from that charity stream. It's ridiculous. So with that, actually, transition to the charity stream. For those of you that order the e-posters, those will be sent out this weekend. I've been working with the people that had the things that needed to be mailed first because those require a little bit more time and there's crafting that needs to be done here. I'm getting the posters ready to send out to you guys. So by the end of the weekend, for those of you that bought the reward posters, we will get those out to you through email. By the end of this week, and I think that would cover everything. So if you want any games, you would have received an email from the RSG email, which does show up as Real Sith Genius. For those of you that don't know, that was our original name. So you should have received that email if you want any free games. If you order the Ouchie Dumpling audio, that has been done. If you, I think everything else has been contacted for at this point. So just the posters should be going out by the end of this weekend along with an updated podcast. So we got that. And you want to talk about Battlefront 2 also, Ranger?
Yeah, so for Battlefront, next week we will be doing some giveaways. We were EA and CG hooked us up with some free giveaways for Battlefront 2. So each day next week when we do Battlefront, we will be giving out a version of the game on either PS4, Xbox, or PC. Now the PC version, if I'm correct in this, Finn, is for North America only. So you can
All of them are North American
okay, so
zoned. Although PC gives a little more flexibility, but the other ones are all North American.
So it's all North American. So sorry for our fans in China and other places. It just won't. The code won't work for you, unfortunately. I mean, but I think one of them's the deluxe edition, Finn, or all of them. So not only do you get the Battlefront game, but you get the deluxe edition, which comes with, I believe, a lot of the skins like Jedi Training Range and some other things. So it's pretty cool.
And Sanely asks, what about the status of the spam Twinkie video?
Well,
okay,
we're getting there. Let us get through our announcements one at a time. Jeez.
Well, I can get to it because I did talk about the charity stream stuff already. So
okay, well, go ahead. Yeah.
I do have the spam. The spam is ready. My Twinkie maker has unfortunately been cleaned and ready for spam insertion. That's not pleasant. So during this week, yeah, I know. But during this week, I plan on getting that done. So this week I'll be recording that, and then either early next week or this weekend, hopefully we'll get the video out for you guys to see Twinkie spam stuff. I'm literally just taking the spam and sticking it in the Twinkie holes.
Well, yes.
And cooking a log of spam in a shape of a Twinkie. It's I don't know what else to say. It's just
I don't know what you say to that either, but you put it up there, so
I know. And hey, it worked, right? We got
over 10,000. We raised
10,000 after you include like the matches and stuff that don't show up necessarily on Tiltify. So we have a lot. So really, again, thank you guys for making that a big success for us. 10,000 with a lot of that actually even coming before we even started the stream. You guys were well in support of that, so thank you very much for that.
Yeah. What else do we got going on? We got our new Patreon set up, right?
Yes, we do. So we have a Patreon page. It is patreon.com/realityskewedgamers. It's not in the links of the YouTube descriptions yet. I'm going to have to update all of that, so it is going to start showing up in there. But we do have a Patreon. It's, again, a lot of... want you guys, we consider ourselves part of you guys as part of the community, and we're just making content to kind of bring the community together and make these videos and have fun with you guys. So we want to let you guys know what all the money is going for. So with the Patreon, you'll see that we have our goals set up. If we can get $300 a month, that covers a lot of our expenses, whether it's the file sharing for the podcast stuff, whether it's the internet to make sure that we get really good internet that Ranger can stream from, just kind of the daily stuff that we have to take care of for the YouTube stream. That's what we're looking. That's what the first like 300 a month is, and then the other part, which you'll see if we can get to 700, that'll include enough to get a character. You guys are always asking Ranger to buy a pack, so we want to do that. We don't have a beta account or anything kind of like that, so we can always test those things. So we do have the goal set where we could buy basically a full character every month if we can get to that, and then we can play around with that with you guys so you guys can see it. And I saw Nathaniel Miller ask question, does that count towards VIP status in Discord? Yes, it does. In fact, right now we have one tier set up. There's probably going to be more set up moving forward, but right now there's a $5 tier equivalent right now. That's equivalent to the sponsorship in YouTube, just so you guys know. You get different things in YouTube though, right? Because the YouTube sponsorship, you'll get access to all the different logos and stuff, and you get the special green title in the chat. So all of that is there in YouTube. We can't do that outside of YouTube. So you have to sponsor through YouTube for that. But if you do the Patreon and you do the $5 a month, which is the buttsock tier, you will get access to the VIP status in Discord. Yeah. So that is available for you guys.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how Patreon works. I think if you just do the $5, then you're good. But I think it's like anything else that we do. If you give more, then you automatically qualify. But we'll work on the other tiers as well. I don't know what we're going to add for it other than...
I have some ideas.
Okay. Well, Finn's got some ideas. So that's for us. I think what's going on. We've got the D&D stream tomorrow. We got the Mature Channel stream tonight. So we got some cool stuff lined up for you guys. We're working on a lot of stuff. Apparently, we got some stuff in the Amazon wish list I was going to talk about, but apparently they were purchased. So swear to God. You guys are incredible.
You guys are awesome. I have to say, I love you guys. Like we're doing this stuff always to add stuff to the content of our videos, and sometimes it's little fun things with little things that come in behind us. So you may see some of like the Funkos behind me, or Rangers Revan poster, or something like that, right? But sometimes we do need stuff with technical stuff. So somebody did buy me a blue mic, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
So it helps me with the audio for some of the video creation, and then we have Ranger. We had put up a monitor so Ranger can get 2 screens, which helped with the OBS streaming, and someone got that, which is awesome. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. All right, I think that's all the mechanisms that we need to talk about. Or did I forget anything, Dr. Finn?
I think that covers everything.
Okay. All right, so let's get into... Well, we had a lot of big announcements this week. Would you say there, Dr. Finn? Is Stoner Jedi there, or is he being stoner?
No, he said his phone is acting up, so that's why he's not able to.
Well, you know what? It's just going to be me and Finn and quality time with the fans today for the Jedi Academy. So go ahead and get your questions in, and me and Dr. Finn we're going to answer them. You know, that's what we do here. Damn it. All right. So we had a lot of news today, this week. We've got the new Knights of the Old Republic characters coming in. Haven't seen any of their kits. We also got the announcements to changes in the mods and the way they're going to work. So if you have questions about those, go ahead and get them in there, and we will answer them. So I'll wait to talk about those kind of items when we get questions about it. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense to you there, Dr. Finn?
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right, let's start answering some questions then, my friend. Let's see. The first one's from Nathaniel Miller and says, "Do you think the Places of Power Assault battle will get a mythic tier soon?" I want to say yes, because they've been doing that for all the other ones. However, for some reason on those, it takes them a little while to set that up. So I don't know if it's going to be around the corner or if it's going to be a while. What do you think, Dr. Finn?
Yeah, I agree. I think they eventually will get a mythic tier. I don't know where their priorities are, though, in terms of getting that right. Because that one's probably... So mythic tiers are really fun, but they're... Obviously, right now, they're focusing on much bigger things. They have the entire Knights of the Republic coming and a whole Revan release that they're working on in order to make sure his kit is working. So I'm sure they have a lot going on. Remember, it did take a little while for the Yoda mythic tier to get in place.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if it took a little bit for a mythic tier to get added to some of these assault battles like the Places of Power, but I do think that there will be eventually.
All right. Let's see. Next question from Tim Beddard. 2 questions about Nice Sisters. What is the Zeta priority, and do you mod zombie? Well, the second part of the question, no, you do not mod zombie. Okay.
Well, you can mod it with speed. You just avoid health, protection, and defense.
It's not a priority. It's not one you need, right?
It's nice though. You can get just pure speed with crap. So you don't want health. You don't. Well, assuming you have a weak zombie. Let me start there. If your zombie is weak, keep her weak. I have a strong zombie, so I do mod mine, but mine's I use differently. So if you have a weak zombie, then the only mods you want are things that give speed. You want to avoid anything that gives protection. You want to avoid anything that gives health, and you want to avoid anything that gives defense. So ideally, you have kind of like a full tenacity or potency or offense stats in addition to speed on your zombie. And you use 4 mods only to get the speed set, and you avoid putting anything in the circle, right? Because the circle will give you either health or protection guaranteed, and you avoid putting anything in the diamond because that one gives defense. So you basically do a square, arrow, triangle, and cross, all with non-defense oriented primaries and non-defense oriented secondaries. That would be your ideal scenario. You can go without modding, but a fast zombie is a happy zombie.
And then what is the other order? For me, it's always been Asajj. This is the order I went and what I recommend. Asajj lead, Mother Talzin unique, and then Asajj is unique in that order. I think Asajj leader is a much better leader. Some people still like Mother Talzin's leader. I don't. I think Asajj is just way better. And then after those three, then you can do Old Doc if you really want to, which is a really nice Zeta. Some people have it, some people don't. I think it does help your team in the long run, but there's so many Zetas and other characters that need Zetas that you can get away with those three Zetas I just mentioned and have a really, really, really solid Night Sister team that can do very well in the Heroic Sith raid and can do very well in territory wars and territory battles.
I like how we're disagreeing with everything on Night Sisters.
Okay.
So
I know you think
my
Lightbearers and her leader is better, but I just don't. I think Asajj...
No, not even that. So I think Night Sisters, for a while, right, depending on what you're using them for, Night Sisters can go without a leader, Zeta. Mother Talzin's leader works fine for a Night Sister team. The Zetas add something, both Asajj and Mother Talzin add something to their utility, but you can go without a Zeta on their leaders and the teams will still be viable. So for me, actually, the order of the Zetas would be Asajj unique, Mother Talzin unique, and then pick your leader. I still like Mother Talzin for Arena and Territory Wars, but Asajj lead is now the lead for Heroic Sith Raid. And so I actually have both leads, and I use both of them. I use Asajj in the Sith Raid, and I use Talzin in Territory Wars. So it's up to you, whichever one. The reason I like it in Territory... So, Arena, either one works. I'll say that. In Arena, either one works. The reason I like Talzin more in Territory Wars is because you have the extra ability to res, and that gives you an extra chance to win with 5 characters on your team. So if you're using them in offense and Territory Wars, or on defense, which gives you a chance to res another one, I like the Zeta on Mother Talzin's leader. So because any of the leaders really work, Night Sisters are good like that, where you don't necessarily need the Zeta unless you're doing Heroic Sith Raid, then Asajj lead is basically mandatory. In all other areas, you don't need a Zeta leader. So I would go Asajj unique, followed by Mother Talzin unique, followed by, then depends on where you want to put your leader. Asajj leader, to agree with Ranger here, I would probably say do Asajj leader because it helps you with the Sith raid and it's a good Zeta for everywhere else. I still, though, prefer Mother Talzin if I have it, and that's why I have both leader Zetas.
Sure. All right, next question from Old Man Wilson. Question: what is everyone's favorite squad for P2 and P3 of the Sith raid? What's your favorite team, Dr. Finn?
I am having so much fun with Kenobi lead, Wampa, Thrawn, Sabine, and Hermit Yoda. That team is just so much fun to play with.
I know. I'm farming my Wampa right now. Wampa.
I'm the one I'm gonna try next is trying to see if I can use the Boba lead with Wampa and see if I can get that to work. Basically, it would be subbing out Sabine. My Sabine is kind of weak, but I still do RNG runs. Usually it's about 2 or 3 times in P2 in order to get her to stack at least 3 armor shreds. If I can get 4, obviously it's really awesome. And I got that a couple of times, but I think most of the time I end up with 3 and she dies, but I just keep the run. So I'm going to try and sub out Sabine, put Boba Fett lead. So it'll be Boba lead, Wampa, Kenobi, Hermit Yoda, and Thrawn, and see how that runs next time. But it's the Wampa is just so much fun.
Yeah.
I love.
I use First Order in Phase 2, so I just go in there with the Executioner and go Kassan chop and everything. Executioner, you're up. Go make something of yourself.
And then Phase 3. Oh,
well,
God,
it's Chex Mix. I mean,
it's Chex Mix, but I hate it.
I don't like it any more than you do, Finn, but it's really the only effective strategy that it's there. I mean, until someone can really think of something else, because I've tried all different types of teams in Phase 3, and you just get slaughtered. You don't. It's such.
Depends on what you're looking for. You can get a 1%
trying to maximize. Squad.
I mean, obviously, 1% isn't enough, but there's 1% squads with like Rolo.
But even then, you just feel like you didn't accomplish anything.
You
want to go home and rethink your life.
Exactly.
You know.
But yeah, it's unfortunately Chex Mix in Phase 3, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's It is what it is. So, and Chex Mix, of course, is a combination of where you want to get Han as the guy that does standalone, with Death Trooper, where you put a death mark on. You want Chirrut in there, CLS, and there's different people that use POW and other people that use different other tunes, but it's all attackers, so that when your Han stands alone, you've got death mark on Traya, and then you basically have all the buffs on Han, and he's just countering and hitting for just mega damage, right? So that's kind of the reason why Chex Mix works the way it does. So those are the two teams, Old Man Wilson for Phase 2 and Phase 3. All right, Tenebrists. Question, Territory Wars related. As a reference, 65 million GP guild. I just unlocked Hoda and have him at gear 11. What's a good use for him in Territory Wars? Holy Hermit Yoda. It depends what your guild needs. Now, on defense, he makes a really, really good defensive team with JTR, BB-8R2, Scavenger Ray, something along those lines, or you can go... any four combination that you want to use is JTR and BB-8, Hermit Yoda, something along those lines. That team, because it's constantly regenerating health and protection, is a really good defensive team. What about you, Dr. Finn? That's how I kind of use Hermit Yoda on mine, but all our GTRs are used for offense now. So, can you think of somewhere else you'd like to use your Hermit Yoda?
So I'm gonna go. This is actually kind of annoying. So because he said 65 million, right? That means that the roster size is relatively small for everyone.
Yeah.
I am actually thinking of a much more, I'll say, annoying squad.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to a meta that was a while ago, which would be Kenobi lead, Barriss, Hermit Yoda, fives, and let's put... You know what? Let's put Nihilus. There we go.
Oh.
Kenobi, Zaris, Hermit Yoda, fives, and Nihilus.
Good luck with that.
It's basically a timeout team for defense. I haven't tried it yet because at higher, obviously, people have the teams in order to beat that. But at 65 million, that means on average everyone has around like 1.05 or something like that GP. So it's or like 1.1, somewhere around there, 1.1, 1.2 million.
7 to the third power, right?
So because you're at a GP that's lower, the depth of characters is going to be lower. So having one team that can time out like that, I think would be a really fun team to put on defense and see if people actually struggle with it. And obviously, it's a very defense-oriented team with Kenobi, Barriss, obviously Zeta Barriss, Hermit Yoda, fives. Fives under Kenobi will taunt, so that's the reason for fives. Plus, he counterattacks and puts a slow. And then, because there's not a lot of damage dealing, you have Nihilus, who will do cooldown reduction, as well as then an Annihilate if the team goes on too long. So, I think that would be my guess as to a team that may be good on defense and territory wars in order to stall out a team, to stall out the opposition if they're not prepared for that. So that would be my theory crafting for a team at that GP level.
There you go. All right, next question from Tim Bedard. Question: if you could rework one character's kit, who would it be? We've been screaming from the high heavens, Mace, Windu. Of course, Grievous is another one. Is there any other characters that pop into your mind, Finn? Don't say Ugnaught, I'll slap you.
No, I'm not going to say I want new Ugnaughts. I don't want to rework the one that's current. I told you before, I want a Hondo with the other 3 Ugnaughts from Rebels. Just create a whole Hondo lead with 4 Ugnaughts.
Oh, God.
But, Grievous is one. Maybe this is because it's my vanity character, right? He still has a use in this game, but I kind of wish they reworked Savage a little bit.
Yeah.
He's good. He's still very usable, and at lower GPs, if he's on defense, if people don't know how to deal with him, a Zeta Savage can be very difficult to kill. But I don't know. He is my vanity character. He was, I think, my second Zeta just because he is my character. He's a character that I love since the beginning of the game. So because of that, I think I would say a rework of some kind to SWGOH. But that's also completely biased on my opinion. He's not a bad character that really needs a huge rework anyways. But yeah, that's where I would go.
All right. Nathaniel Miller, will you know who be a legendary or heroic?
He's talking about you know who. Your Lord and Savior.
Boy. We've had the discussion. Will it be a journey? Will it be a heroic? Will it be legendary?
He won't be a journey because the problem is, look at all the journey characters that we've had, right? CLS had Farm Boy Luke in the game.
Right. This is not gonna,
Jedi Training Rey had Scavenger Rey. So there's no one as a precursor to Revan in order to bring him into the game in a journey format, right? There's no journey for Revan. So journey itself wouldn't make sense. Now, what could happen, and this is definitely possible because if you don't know, like the whole journey concept is new, right? It started with CLS about 9 months ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So the journey concept itself is new. There could be a whole new way to introduce Revan, one that we have no clue about.
Sure.
Still releases in a 7-star format, so you only get him as 7-star on the release. But the journey wouldn't work for the initial release of Revan. Now I know Ranger doesn't want this. We discussed this on the Wednesday stream, but my thought process is still that they release a light side Revan as a legendary using the new characters, followed by later on, maybe like a year down the road, it'll be a journey for the light side Revan into a dark side Revan, followed by a later journey that makes him a dual. So he becomes light side, dark side, either no tags or both tags or something like that. But just thinking about progression of Revan, that would be my guess. Now, it's totally a guess. I think more likely than not, he's going to be released as a 7-star character in a format that's different than any other that we've seen. So I'm going to guess it's going to go that direction. Yep. But I'm still kind of hoping from my end that he starts off as a legendary, and then we have 2 journeys for him as well.
And CG's not listening to that. We're feeling bad man. I mean, his journey could be that you go in different stages, like you did in KOTOR, right? He starts off where you're with your crew, you could do the journey in stages like you've done the other story ones, and then our legendary event where it's a story, and you're just doing the battles as part of the story. So I could see him doing that. All right, next question. Emza Kasky. Do you guys think all 5 will be marquee events? So they're talking about the new characters. I think they're going to be marquee events. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, I can't think. They've released everyone marquee lately, so...
Yeah, they're not all going to be released at once, I don't think. But they'll be released, and then maybe we'll get 2 one week, and then 2 the next, and then a 5th, or 2 and 3, something along those lines. So it's not going to be all at once, but it will be like that.
I don't know if he's referring to this, but this may be part of what he's asking the question. Wicked and Talzin they had that special event that came once a month where you got 10 shards, right? But initially they were released in that the marquee type event, right? Where you did get the 3-star unlock, but then you could only get shards through a certain way, so the cadence was a little different. It's possible they release it that way, but I can't remember the last character that wasn't released in a marquee format, assuming you're not including journey or legendary, and I don't think any of the 5 are going to be those type of characters. Yeah. So if you're excluding journey and legendary type releases, I can't think of another character that was released outside of marquee lately. So I'm going to say, yeah, they're all going to be marquee. Now, as to whether or not they're going to go into the regular cadence, I would imagine most of them are. The only one I'm not sure about is Basila Shan.
Mm-hmm.
She might end up being something similar to Wicked and Talzin, potentially.
Didn't they say they weren't going to do that anymore? Or
they didn't say they weren't going to do that. They weren't going to make it exclusively in that, like they did Wicked and Talzin. Right, they were still going to keep it in some kind of cadence, but I think she might get like a single hard node plus that event, something like that. But I think Basila Shan is probably the one character out of the group that people are looking forward to, not as much, but out of the group, the most in terms of getting for Revan. So I think maybe she will be extra supported by that kind of event, because I have a feeling, unfortunately, that a lot of these characters are going to hit hard nodes, and a huge backup in the hard nodes is going to cause a lot of, I don't want to say anger, I'll say more frustration, if those are the characters that are needed for a Revan release down the goal. So
All right, and England just scored, so it's 1-0. So somewhere Mike just exploded. There's much cussing and rejoicing at the Hunt household. All right, David Lee, question on new tunes. Speculation: do you think they will be more a PvE team? Will one standout tune like Basila or a whole squad synergy team? Don't know. We haven't seen the kits yet. I couldn't tell you. I mean, typically, most of the times from what we've seen lately, they've been more PvE oriented. But there's been a character here and there like Nest or somewhere along that line. I wouldn't be shocked if one character out of there wasn't meta defining, not meta changing, but meta defining, where it could be really good. I think Basil would probably be in that realm, but we don't know yet until we really see their kits and see how it works. I don't see. It's kind of hard to say. Oh yes, Basil will be definitely, because we don't know what they're going to put them as tags, what they're attacker, defender, all that kind of stuff. So we don't know what their abilities are going to be. What do you think, Finn?
I'm looking at them as kind of a.
They're going to be a synergistic team. Like
they're going to be synergistic. I think they're going to end up, and I'm meaning down the line, I think they're going to end up as PvP.
Right.
So here's my thought process, right? With KOTOR, it makes sense that these characters will be the counter to Traya, right? Just with the whole KOTOR theme and the way they're introducing it, it seems like these are going to be designed to be the counter to Traya. But you don't want a counter to Traya coming very soon, nor do you want the counter to Traya being a non-difficult character to acquire.
Right, you don't want
and
Imperial Troopers.
All of these are marquee, right? You're not going to want them.
Knocking out Traya.
That would be awful. So what I'm thinking is that the team is going to kind of feel like the Scoundrels release from the Solo movie, where you have the Kira lead, and you can put all of the Scoundrels under the Kira lead. They feel almost like the Phoenix team, because they do have that synergy. They kind of work together really well, right? You have one standout character, like Enfys Nest, which I think is going to be like Basila Shan, to the way the question with the one standout tune. I think Basila Shan is going to be kind of that standout character, equivalent to Enfys Nest, to parallel what's happening with the Solo movie. But what I think down the line is going to happen is that Revan is going to be released, and he is going to have a leader ability that brings together this team and makes them a solid PvP team. I think it's going to revolve around Revan and his leader in order to make them a PvP team. And prior to that, they're going to be the equivalent of the Solo Scoundrels or the Phoenix team, and they'll be kind of a PvE team that has probably a leader ability under, and I'm not sure, it's probably going to be Basila Shan maybe. I'm not sure who the leader is going to be, but
right.
They're going to have one leader, and maybe one of the characters, like a Basila Shan, ends up being the one that can work outside of the synergy and work with maybe a Jedi team and make them a little bit better PvP-wise. So that's my speculation. Whole squad synergy, yes. Standout tune Basila Shan, that would be my guess. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of PvE versus PvP, I'm going to say PvE until the release of Revan, and then they'll become PvP oriented.
There you go. All right, David Lee, next question. Question on new tunes. Let's see. Speculation, do you think they would be more PvE team? Well,
that's the one
we just read that one. Okay. Linus Milius, next question. From a smart business perspective, when would it be most logical to drop 7-mods on us, and what place could they reduce backlash from it? I don't think we're getting 7-mods.
7? We haven't even gone to 6, and you're going to 7?
Yeah, I know. We'll skip 6. Go right to 7. I mean, So we got all the upcoming mod changes that are in the works now. So we have to get through that for a while. And then we have to even get to 6. I don't think they're gonna just go right to 7. I mean, if they're transparent about it and they explain how it's gonna work and everything and when they're gonna introduce it, then I think it'll be fine. Hey, this is coming in like 3 weeks. Be ready. It's when if they do it where it's like, oh, 2 days we're doing these mods, that's going to be a disaster. That's one of those big changes to the game that has to be weeks in advance so people can prepare. Because if you go to a 6 mod, that changes the whole dynamic of the game. Anything you want to add on that, Dr. Finn, Medicine Woman?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
But not for a while. From a smart business, not for a while. Especially with the new
changes. I mean, first off, you have to do 6 mods, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to jump to 7 yet. And in terms of dropping 6 mods, it depends on the system that they implemented. And obviously, I'm biased. I hope that they implement my system, which was kind of the merging of 2 mods and keeping the secondary stats of 1 and doing kind of an upgrade with it. So that would be my suggestion. It makes it so that your mods are not going to be wasted if you got good rolls and stuff on them. So with that as the backdrop, obviously, I still don't expect everyone to be happy, right? As soon as you introduce 6 mods, your 5 mods have to be upgraded, and people are going to be or a little bit confused. And so because of that, I think from a business perspective, you are better off releasing that kind of stuff towards the beginning or the early middle of a quarter, because those kind of changes can have a negative impact on gameplay. Some people are going to invest more in order to get them up to 6. Others are going to just get frustrated with the change in the system and then drop. So I think maybe from a business perspective, it's going to be better in mid-quarter rather than the end of quarter in order to get a spike in order to raise the numbers. So that would be from a business perspective, my thought.
All right, next question. From Varkesh, question: with these new KOTOR tunes coming in, do you have any plans to review the KOTOR game in stream so that those not familiar with the tunes can learn their backgrounds? We didn't plan on doing any of that. I do have Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox, but I mean, I've played the game before. I mainly got it because Team Money wanted me to get it, and then she saw it and was like, "This is dumb."
Maybe she'll like it.
She didn't like it.
That
no,
sounds
now
about
that there's
right.
actually something coming in game with it, maybe she'll.
She doesn't like it, Finn.
I know.
I mean, I guess we could do some lore videos, Finn.
Yeah, we can do some. We can do something with
do like
the
a little
KOTOR
podcast
game as
form
the
with
background.
with some like pictures and stuff, and just break down who this person was and what they meant. I mean, some will have more of a background than others. It should be the main characters, but like Bastila, Malik, Revan, I guess we could do all that stuff if we really wanted to. I mean, there's a lot of people that do lore videos out there, but I mean, all these characters have backgrounds. You can go, I mean, if you type in their name on YouTube, you will get lore videos that people have put out. But if you guys really want us to do that, let us know in the comments. We'll be more than glad to put those out for you guys. All right, next question. Wait, who joined us? I heard someone's voice.
I'm back. I'm here.
Stoner Jedi?
Yep, I'm here.
You're here to participate?
Yeah, sorry. My phone was acting up. I don't know what was going on, but I'm good again.
Let me pay your bill. All right, we just said that one. Nathaniel Miller. Have you tried the Rolo bombardment team in STR Phase 3? It's obviously not as good as Chex Mix, but is it a viable alternative if you're missing Death Trooper? What do you think there, Stoner Jedi?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a few times. I've gotten Rolo to hit like 200K. I mean, it's not a substitute for Chex Mix, definitely, because, Chex Mix gets you up to like 2, 3, 4 mil, depending on how much you're investing in it. But, it does do, I do it just because it's an extra 100, 200K damage. I mean, it's fun too, just finding the pieces on offense is the hard piece. Is like you got to get some attackers in there with some good base offense to share it with Rolo too. So
All right, Captain Blackbeard question. I'm still confused about mod slicing. Can you explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old? Oh, good Philadelphia the movie reference there. Dr. Fan, can you help Captain Blackbeard the pirate out? Arr.
Yeah. So, okay.
When a
Again, we don't have a lot of information.
When a mommy and a daddy mod love each other very much. We'll start from there.
So remember that we don't have a lot of information. They've only given us very basic information, right? But basically, they told us that it's going to be the equivalent of getting gear. It's kind of similar to salvage for gear upgrades. So what you're essentially looking at is the mod that you currently have. And if you look at, I don't know if you want to pull up the screenshots, Ranger, but if you guys go to the screenshots, it'll help you kind of put this in context. But there is a screenshot that shows how the slicing works. And so the way you want to look at it is your mods have certain stats. Gray mods have 0 stats to start out with. Green will get to start off with 1, but eventually they get to 4, right? And that's when you get the gold quality, right? Once you hit level 15 and you have the 4 secondary stats. That's what we currently define as gold quality. What's changing is that definition. So gold now refers to when the change hits, they're going to change all of the colors of your mods back to what the initial color was of your mod. So if you had a green mod that you leveled up to level 15 and is now gold, when the new update hits, it's going to revert back to green color. The secondary stats will stay the same. The primary stat will stay the same. The level is going to stay the same. The only thing that's going to change is the color. If you look on the screenshot, there are little numbers next to each of the secondary stats. So they'll say 2, 1, 2, or maybe a 3, something like that. That is the number of times that that secondary stat was updated or upgraded. At the end of getting a gold level mod, those numbers will total 8. Okay, so let's start out with a gray mod, and we can kind of work through the other mods, and you'll understand kind of what I mean by that.
My mommy and daddy reference one was better.
So if you have a gray mod, right, so you have no secondary stats, you will start out with 0 secondaries. When you get to level 3, you're going to get your first secondary stat. So whatever that secondary stat is going to pop up, and now there's going to be a little 1 next to it, because it's upgraded that secondary stat from 0 to whatever the base one is. Let's say it's plus 4 speed. When you go to level 6, you now get a second secondary stat. So that is now going to start out with 2. So you'll get 2. And so you'll have 2 total, because there's going to be a 1 next to the next one. You'll get a third secondary stat. That one's going to have a 1 next to it. And then you're going to get a fourth, which is going to have a 1 next to it. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. Okay, I'm trying to keep this to 5th grade level. This game isn't for a 5-year-old. Just so you know, this game is definitely not for a 5-year-old. And weirdly enough, this is actually complicating the mod system more than it was. So I'm just going to say that right now. This is actually much more complicating the mod system than it previously was. So it's beyond, I will say, it's beyond the comprehension of a 5-year-old. They'll be pushing buttons. But essentially, by the time you get a gray mod to level 15, you're going to have 4 secondary stats that's going to have a 1 next to each of them, because they've been updated. Now, you can get up to 8, and the 8 is 4 splices. So you can go from gray to green, and that's going to be 1. Green to blue is going to be another. Blue to purple is going to be another, and purple to gold is another. So those are all splices. Or slices, I should say, not splices. Slices. Each slice is going to add a 1, and you can see that in the screenshot where it's going from green to blue, and one of the numbers has a 2, because in order to get to green, no matter how you get to it, when you get to a green, that means one of the secondary stats has been leveled up twice. If you have a blue, that means the total of the numbers on the left are going to equal 6. A purple means that the total on the side is going to equal 7, and a gold means the number on the left is going to equal 8. So that is what the colors now mean. So level 15 means that you have a minimum of a total of 4 in that left column. A gray means that the total is 4. Green means the total is 5. Blue means the total is 6. Purple means the total is 7. Gold means the total is 8. All of the mods can go up to 8. And in order to go from whatever the current number is to 8, you do slices. And the slices require you to get salvage from your mod battles. And we don't know how that's going to work. I really don't want to farm 1 and 2 dot mods, just throwing that out there. So you're going to have to farm salvage. And then the salvage is used to upgrade those mods. And that's what adds a number to that left column. It gets you a free upgrade. So whatever mods you currently have, let's suppose you have a plus 15 speed mod, you now have an opportunity to get 2 more rolls on that speed, basically for free on your current mods. So that's what it is.
And that's how a baby's made.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously don't have all the details. They're going to give you
there's more to it.
Details coming up. From the post, that is as much as we know right now. So the total in the left is going to equal 8. You're going to get up to level 15 in order to get all of your secondary stats to show. Plus, if you have any mods showing beforehand, you're going to get 1 extra bonus for each of the secondary stats that are showing. So by the time you get to level 15, on a green, you'll have 1 extra roll. Blue's going to get 2. Purple's going to get 3. Gold's going to get 4. So if you have a gold mod, it's not going to require any slicing in order to get maximized. We don't know where on the mod battles it's going to show up. We don't know if maybe they're going to add the salvage to the mod challenges as well, which would be nice, so you can actually farm your regular mods in order to do that and not 1 dot and 2 dot. We don't know the cost, right? How much it's going to actually cost in order to do all of the different upgrades, because they only showed us 1 picture. We don't know how much those salvage are going to drop, because if 6A from the ship reinforcements was any indication, the drop rate is going to be awful, so it's going to be a lot of wasted cantina energy. So there's a lot we don't know about what the final system is going to look like.
That's right.
But in terms of just leveling the mods, simply put, any of your mods that have good speed secondaries that are not gold will have an additional attempt, if not more, to upgrade that speed secondary. So,
all right.
It's good for veteran players. It's going to be extra work for newer players in order to get a mod to be higher, because you're going to have to level it up and do salvage. So it's a little bit harder to get a mod golded versus a veteran player that already has some that are level 15.
Yep. All right, next question from Fat Tony 99. Question: what's the best phase in heroic AAT to run a Night Sister team and a First Order team to maximize damage? I'm still a ways away gear-wise from putting together the Asajj team that solos the last 2 phases.
Well, I mean, Night Sisters in Phase 3 turned me to reduction, but you need buffs on them, so that's kind of a missing factor there.
I heard a baby.
Yeah, he's always just laughing.
He heard Star Wars and he started laughing.
Yeah, we're getting him started early.
That's right. Get them when they're young. You better be wearing Star Wars memorabilia right now. They're just under Jedi.
Some Rangeroos.
That's right. With the when it's when it's Yoda, it's clean. When it turns to Jar Jar, it's full of poo. I mean, you kind of answered your own question for the last 2 phases for Night Sisters. I mean, First Order is really good. You could use them in I mean, you can use them anywhere, but I think Phase 1 definitely, because of all the counters and stuff that they do.
For First Order, I like Phase 2 is it's pretty good because Executioner starts stacking up so much damage. And
I was trying to think of others in the Phase 2, but
yeah, maybe Phase 4 because they have so many advantage buffs, and as long as you can keep advantage over everybody, they won't get blasted one shot by the tank.
You just keep pushing Stormtrooper going, and he's buffing the team the entire time with defense and stuff. So that'll
right.
be a problem. And again, Executioner is really what you need to make that team work in really any of those phases, because he's the one going around Kassan chopping everything. I mean, once you get him going, guys, Executioner is a beast, man. I mean, take it from us. When you get that little white Stormtrooper with the Vibro Axe, Electric Axe, whatever we're calling that thing, he hits so freaking hard. He is a monster. So, ideally, I say Phase 1, Stoner says Phase 2. You can kind of play around with it. Phase 4 is always an option. Not so much Phase 3. I don't see that team in Phase 3. And then Night Sisters, you kind of answered your own question. I mean, Night Sisters, Phase 3 definitely with drop plague everywhere and stuff, into Phase 4. Night Sisters are really good in a lot of places. I would say them to the later stages, because there's some other teams that are better in Phase 1 and Phase 2. So, all right, next question. Tenebris. Question: with the new mod system coming, should I be holding my 5-dot clear mods? I ask because they are a major part of my credit income because I farm mods 5 days a week. What do you think, Dr. Finn?
Yeah. So I'm holding on to all of my mods because we don't know what they're going to do.
We have no idea.
The reason I'm holding on to it in particular is because while there is an increased cost associated with leveling them, right? At the end of the day, no matter what mod you're starting out with, slicing makes it so all of them are even by the end. So I was just mentioning that at the end, you're looking at a total of 8 in that left column, right? Doesn't matter what you start out with, at the end, between leveling and slicing, that total ends up 8. And 1 is guaranteed just for each of the stats showing up, which means no matter how you're doing it, you're getting 4 upgrades to your secondary stats. And so whether you're starting out with gray, whether you're starting out with gold, the final result ends up the same in terms of the number of upgrades you have possible. The only difference is what the cost is. So if the salvage is super easily accessible, let's say you can do it with mod challenges and it drops at a rate where basically, I don't know, every 3 or 4 attempts you get enough to do an upgrade, right? That would be worth it to level up your gray mods, because your gray mods essentially end up acting like gold mods, because you're getting all of the salvage material and you can basically make them a gold equivalent with some salvage materials. So we don't know what the eventual cost of all of these things are. We don't know how easy it's going to be to acquire the salvage. We don't know where you're going to acquire the salvage besides just mod battles, which is what they wrote. But maybe it's also mod challenges, like we've been saying. We don't know how much the drop rate is going to be. We don't know anything else. We don't know any details. That's coming up based on the carry post. So I would say hold on to all of your 5-dot mods, even the gray ones, because they can be the equivalent of a gold mod at the end. We just don't know the cost of it. So yes, hold on to everything as much as you can. Except for 4. Obviously, 4-dot, 3-dots you can sell because it looks like 5-dots is the way. So right. I wouldn't hold on to any 4-dot or less gray mods. Right. I'd probably still hold on to the green and the blue ones, just simply for the fact that they have some stats that may end up being useful. But I wouldn't buy any of them, not anymore. I know previously I'd recommended it, but obviously now the whole paradigm has shifted. So 4-dot, 3-dot are becoming obsolete. So focus on 5-dot mods. Save all of your 5-dot and then only save your 4-dots that have the secondaries that you want showing. So there you go.
All right. Let's see. Question from DB. Question: will CG do a Phoenix required for Thrawn stunt for revamping with the new KOTOR tunes? Start farming them all when they are released. I assume it will be short notice for him. I assume he's talking about Revan. What do you think? Their Stoner Jedi. What are you in the baby think?
Like the new tunes being required for Revan, right?
Yeah, I don't think they learned their lesson from that one.
I mean, the requirements are one thing, and then I can see them potentially making the event hard. You know what I mean? Like, I was actually thinking about that myself the other night. I mean, like, we haven't had, a difficult event that you need just more than the requirements for, since Thrawn, right? Even if you had a 5-star Phoenix squad, a certain gear level, gear 8,
The baby ate the mic.
I finished gear 8 7-star, so I got really lucky and tried to get by with the bare minimums and certain omegas and good mods. So it'll be fun to see new challenging tasks to say.
So I mean, will they pull us a Phoenix for Thrawn? Last minute, kind of out of nowhere to get.
No. No, I don't think they'll do that, because like Ranger just said, they learned from that, and they also want to make it a reasonable time frame for the requirements, right? And especially if they're going to release a mass new cadence of characters, like we've been speculating that the solo tunes and all that stuff would be a requirement for the legendary characters, and we kind of just assumed that. But now, obviously, with this new KOTOR lineup, it's like these are the must-have characters for Revan. And they're gonna give us some time to get them together, at least, Yep.
I'm gonna say yes, just so you guys know.
Well,
So just for reference here, right? I think, trying to remember which one. I think only R2 I think it was only R2. I think R2 may have been the only legendary character that I got to 7-star the first time it showed up.
Right.
But every single legendary character I was able to get unlocked the first time they show up.
Well, wasn't Palpatine the first one we got?
No, Yoda.
Yoda was, okay.
Yeah, and I had to farm ETH Koth for... I hated farming ETH Koth.
I think Palpatine was my first one. Yoda I got the second time. And even then it was like 300 battles to unlock that little green turd that I don't even use anymore.
But I mean, so... keep things in mind, right? We don't want to mix how you get a character between the legendary and how you get a heroic character. The journey or the heroic characters I've gotten unlocked every single time, right? But they're heavy investments. CLS was a little bit easier because I had a lot of the tunes already. JTR, because of the release of veterans, being top 5 in arena and top 5 in fleet, gave me crystals in order to get it. So it was possible to do both of those without spending money. But the legendary characters, I think they're going to do it in the same way that they did Thrawn, which was a short release of the characters with enough time for free-to-play players that are, I would guess, maybe somewhere in the top 100 in arena and maybe the top 50 in fleet. They'll get enough crystals in order to do all of their refreshes and stuff in order to get all of the characters to 5-star and then do a 5-star unlock of Revan. There's nothing that guarantees or requires them to make it so free-to-play players get it 7-star on the first attempt. And I have zero issue with them doing it that way because they have to give pay-to-play players an advantage. And so free-to-play can get it unlocked, pay-to-play can get a 7-star, and now especially with the Gear 12 Plus and then getting an additional 12 speed, I mean, they get an advantage for a few months while we wait for the Legendary to come back as free-to-play and try to get them to 7-star. So for me, I think they will do it in the same way as Thrawn. I think we're going to get... The solo tunes were too staggered. Just in looking at it, right? The solo tunes were very staggered in their release, so every time the cadence comes up, it's like a 2-week release, so you have enough time to kind of work on these things. So I think you're going to see a short window where all of these KOTOR characters are going to be released, followed by kind of a cadence where all of a sudden all 5 of them are going to be put into the game. Some will be in Cantina, some will be in Guild Store. I doubt it's going to be in the Guild Event Store, but it's possible. But I think you'll see maybe 2 of them in the Guild Store in alternating nodes, whatever it is. But I think that they're going to release a light side Revan first that's going to be a legendary, followed by later on, maybe a year down the line, a dark side Revan that's going to be a journey character. And so you'll have to farm the legendary Revan, which you can get now with the new KOTOR releases. So that, again, all assumptions here. But I think they're going to release a short order, giving free-to-play time to get him to 5-star, and then paying players will be able to get him to 7-star.
All right. Let's see. Remember, Tauntaun has a question. Question: if I upgrade Sunfac's ship unique, will he receive the crit immunity and defensive bonus if there are no Geo allies present? I run Biggs, Ty, and Sunfac on the front line. What do you think, Stunner Jedi?
So he's looking at the ship's, was it unique, you said?
Yeah, if I upgrade Sunfac's ship's unique, will he receive the crit immunity and defensive bonus if there are no GI allies present? He's running Biggs, Ty, and Sunfac on the front line. I'm not sure on that one.
I'm pulling it up here. It says all active Geonosian allies. So it looks like it's just strictly Geonosian synergy.
That makes sense. I mean, that's why they had the Geos work so well, but they don't work as well without it. I mean, Sunfac can be a good reinforcement for you off the bench, but as a starting lineup one, possibly I could see it because of his taunt and everything, but he doesn't get all the extra bells and whistles if you're not running Soldier and Spy with him.
Right, yeah. I mean, the Geonosians are already so good as it is, and it's just because of the synergy between the three of them, and that's specifically what their kits are surrounded by. Yeah, I mean, like, other than, certain aspects where other ships call the Geonosians to assist, that's what creates that triple double attack from the Geonosians afterwards. So it's basically finding more ships to call them to assist around that. And I was thinking potentially if he's using the Geonosians in the starting lineup, you could do Spy and Soldier with Biggs, and then have Sunfac as your first reinforcement perhaps, and go from there.
All right. Brygon Ruby, question. They usually develop the characters as a snapshot in time. My memory is hazy on KOTOR timeline. When were these characters relevant to Revan in his character arc and timeline? So, Knights of the Old Republic takes place, I think, around 3500 BY. It is very rough, guys. Don't hold me to that. But it was after the first Sith war with Exar Kun and his apprentice. I think a couple hundred years after that. This takes place after the Mandalorian Wars and after Revan and Malak become Sith. I don't want to ruin the story arc for you, but it takes place... I can't really tell you without ruining it for you. Should I just ruin it, Finn? Should I just put spoiler?
I don't think it's a spoiler at this point. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, but you can read this. But basically what happens is Malak betrays Revan as a Jedi. It's the whole thing, and the Jedi wipe his memory. He goes back into service, and this leads to the events of Revan in the first Knights of the Old Republic. And then you can take it from there. But those are characters from that period where... after Revan's memory has been wiped, that he was the Sith Lord that was Darth Revan. So you can just take it from there. And you meet these characters along the way, and it starts a whole story arc that leads you to the Knights of the Old Republic. And then the other characters that you see are from Knights of the Old Republic 2, which is like Traya, Scion, that kind of stuff. All right. DB, question. I usually switch between mods and Cantina for Cantina Energy, I'm assuming he means by this. Should I focus on characters until the mod changes come out? I'm worried they will release 6-dot mods with these changes. They are not releasing 6-dot mods with these changes. However, should he stick with his characters, or should he go back to characters or mods? What do you think, Finn?
Yeah, so I don't think this is going to be the release for 6-dot mods, but I think this is a setup for 6-dot mods. So I think you skipped a question too, Ranger, but it's related to this one.
I'll go back to it.
Well, if you want to ask it now, because I think they're related.
Okay, so Nathaniel Miller said Warrior said in his video that you slice by combining mods together. Any idea where he got that from? It's not how I read the announcement. I didn't read the announcement like that either, but go ahead.
Yeah.
You can combine questions.
So, at Reality Skewed Gamers, we take credit for freaking everything if we ever mention anything anywhere at any time. That's the way we roll.
Well,
so
that's science.
Where he got that idea from, I think, is not necessarily my theory crafting video, but that was the video that I made, I want to say like 8 months ago, that showed how to get 6-dot mods. And the 6-dot mod theory that I had put together was that you combine 2 5-dot mods and they create a 6-dot mod with upgraded secondary stats and primary stats. So what I am thinking happened is, and again, wishful thinking maybe on my part. CG is using that idea because we're awesome like that,
Right?
and they're working on 6-dot mods using that as a platform. So if you look at what they're doing now, in basically allowing you to get mods up to a gold level, I think it's a fair assumption, but I think it's a fair assumption at this point, to think that right now you slice all of your mods up to gold, level 15 mods, 5 dots, and then in a later release, maybe I would guess at the end of the year or so, you will get 6-dot mods that you will get to make by merging together 2 5-dot gold level 15 5-dot mods. And so I think that's what the setup is here, in terms of 6-dot mods. So I don't think 6-dot mods are coming now, but I think this is a setup to make it so you will be required to have gold 5-dot level 15 mods in order to make 6-dot mods through a splicing type thing. So this is slicing. This next one might be splicing, and you splice together 2 5-dot mods and create a 6-dot mod. So going back to what Ranger said, when a mommy and daddy mod love each other, they splice themselves together, and then you get a 6-dot.
Right.
So I'm again guessing. We don't have Warrior here, so I don't want to put words in his mouth. But my guess is that maybe our idea at RSG was taken, and they are putting.
I have no idea where he got that from.
We have no idea, but we take credit for things anyway, so I'm going to say yes. They are implementing my idea, and I'm going to say yes. So that may be where the idea came from. If you watch my video, that's essentially exactly what I had said, which is taking 3 mods. It's 3 mods. I think 2 would be better looking back, but at the time it was 3. And you put 3 together, and you create 1 mod that uses secondary stats from one of them and upgrades them and all this kind of fun stuff. So if you do RSG Theorycraft 6-dot mods, it'll show up in YouTube.
Yeah.
And
so DB's question: should he switch between mods and characters now? What do you think?
So in terms of your question, then it depends on where you are in the game, right?
Yeah,
so if you're in a whatever you're doing, exactly, stay on target. If you're farming a character for a particular reason, then stick with it. If you're just farming characters to finish off a roster, maybe you want to switch to mods. So I can tell you right now, I was farming Sith Marauder for fun. Then ships came out, so then I started to farm Geo Spy to try and get him to 7-star just for the ship, but I'm still not using him, and I really wasn't thrilled about farming Geo Spy. And then as soon as the mod update came out, now I am vigorously farming mods. And that's just because I want to try and get mods under my belt in order to do whatever is needed later on, right? So, but I'm in a position where I don't need any of the stuff that I was farming.
Right.
If I was farming the veterans for Jedi Training Rey, I would stick with the veterans. If I was farming Kylo Ren, because I want to have Kylo Ren Unmasked ready to go for a First Order team, I would stay focused on that. Whatever you're farming, make sure you understand why you're farming it. If you're farming a character for a very specific purpose, then keep up. If you're farming characters in Cantina just to finish things off and they're useless characters and you may not even use it, go ahead and switch to whatever you want. It doesn't matter, but whatever it is, stay focused with whatever it is. I didn't have a focus, honestly, with Cantina Energy, so that's why now I'm focused on just getting more mods.
All right.
Oh, can I chime in on that one too, real quick?
Well, what does the baby think?
The baby thinks that you should just stick to what we always recommend: farm the characters 5 days a week, and then farm mods 2 days out of the week, like you've been doing since day one. And then, that way you're not missing out on accumulating mods. Still, you don't have to roll them if you don't want to, and you can, still focus on what character you want to farm.
All right. Next question from Elliot Warsfold. Question: what order should new players farm teams for their heroic Sith raid? Should players get solid JTR and Chex Mix teams before moving on to Night Sister and First Order? Yes. Yes, you should.
It also depends on how many JTRs you have and how many good Night Sisters you have too, right? JTR, you can use like 25, 30 JTRs to clear phase 1 if you have the damage output. And then you only need, 5 or 10 really good Night Sisters teams in phase 4. You're in 25, 30 Chex Mix teams in phase 3. And, you got a lot of different options in phase 2. So there you go.
There you go. Question from JVU420. Question: what is the best capital ship and crew needed used to get 3 stars on hard node 5E? Dr. Finn.
Honestly, I think it's Akbar with the Geos.
Yes.
I don't have it though. But from everything I've seen, the best one to use there is Akbar with the Geos. And then bringing in a Vader off the bench, that high advanced. And from what I've seen, that is the easiest way to get actually 3-star on any of the nodes. Because that team is just ridiculously fast, and when Vader comes off the bench, he just wrecks things. So that would be, in general, if you ask what the best ship is for the PvE side, that would be the answer. Akbar, 3 Geos, Vader off the bench. I don't have that though, so I'm only like.
No, that's
I think I only started. That's why I was working on Geo Spy. I mean, seriously, farming Geo Spy just kind of kills me a little on the inside. So.
Yeah, same. I mean, I haven't gone that far through the 5 hard nodes, but it's just because you need the Geos and you need Akbar. It's just the setup line.
I have the other Geos ready because I like Geonosian Soldier. Well, Geonosian Soldier was meta back in the early days of the game, so I had him 7-star for a while. And Sunfac has always been kind of a good tank, never a specific spot, but if you needed a sub in tank, Sunfac was always good. So those characters I had done, but Geo Spy, really? What am I going to do? Create a Geonosian team under a Poggle lead? Like, seriously, no.
That's right. All right. Oh, the Purple Smurf herself, Dana Descent, says, question: well, we won't be getting 6 dots mod with this update, but when we do, what will that mean for our 5 dot mods? Well, they become toilet paper.
That's not right.
I
Stop
know.
that. So if they did the system that I had recommended and theory crafted, it doesn't make your 5 dots obsolete. It just makes them slightly less, right? So
it's like 4 to 5.
Right. And 4 to 5 is still reasonable. I still advocated before, not now because there's a whole different system in place. But prior to this update, I had advocated for 3 dot and 4 dot mods because if you can get a good speed on them, it doesn't really matter, right? The only time it mattered was ships, and that's because it affected your GP, which then affected your ship speed, so it mattered. But outside of a crew member, 3 dot, 4 dot, unless it was a primary stat, like a crit damage on a triangle or something like that, or a speed arrow, those ones you definitely need 5 dot. But for any of the other ones, like if you get a speed secondary of 15 on a 4 dot mod, I'm still using that. I don't care that it's 4 dot, it's 15 speed. Speed is kind of the key. If I get a plus 130 offense on a 4 dot mod, I am using that because I care about the offense, not necessarily all of the other stats, including the primary. So I think essentially you'll get that same kind of distinguishing feature between the mods. So 5 dot mod that has like plus 20 speed is still going to be a 5 dot mod with plus 20 speed. If you upgrade it, maybe you'll be able to upgrade it to a 22 or a 23. But a 4 dot mod, right, is going to be at plus 15, or even if you had a 5 dot mod that's at plus 15, a 6 dot mod may make it a plus 20, and now your 5 dot that already had the 20 is fine. So there's just go ahead and don't worry too much about changing what you have, right? The 4 dot mods that you have right now are still viable. Just don't farm anymore, right? Because you know that there's going to be something involving 5 dot mods moving forward. You also don't know whether or not they're going to give you a way to upgrade 4 dot to 5 dots. So that may be also something that they'll introduce when they introduce the 6 dot, because obviously the slicing itself is just to upgrade to a gold level. But if they introduce a new system, I'm going to call it splicing again, just for the sake of argument here. So there's slice and then there's splice with the P. So if you splice together mods in order to make a 5 to a 6, they may introduce a system that allow you to splice together 4s in order to make a 5, and a 3 to make a 4, and a 2 to make a 3, and a 1 to make a 2. So you don't know what the value of all the mods are yet. So what does that mean for your 5 dot mods? They're still viable. They're still going to be viable. They're just not going to be your maximum. But it's really hard to get the max mods anyways, because you need 4 rolls on the 5 dots plus whatever the upgrade is going to be between 5 and 6. It's not very easy to get 4 rolls on a mod, as I'm pretty sure all of you guys are aware. So 5 dot mods still going to be plenty viable. It just won't be the max. So it just depends on how you want to look at it.
And England just scored again. They're up 2-0, and somewhere in the world, Mike exploded again.
Yeah.
And there was much rejoicing and swearing. All right. Stephen Burgett, question. Do you think we could see Scourge in game? Anything's possible at this point. I think they've
Who was Scourge again?
He was a Scourge in the galaxy.
Why am I having a hard time remembering who that is?
Man, what a goal from England. Jesus. Yeah, Mike, it's definitely exploded somewhere. I'm trying to think. Scourge was... I just went blank too because our eyes got distracted. Scourge. What does it sound familiar? I want to say that's from the Old Republic.
I can't remember.
Give me a second. I actually want to look that up. Scourge, Old Republic, Scourge. Star Wars.
He was on our old RSG display. He's the guy with the tentacly chin.
I think he was the Emperor's hand. Yeah, okay, that's who it was. That's what it sounded like. But I always think of him as the Emperor's, not the hand, but the Emperor's wrath. There we go. Yeah, and he works with the because of what he does in that game for the Jedi Warrior Guardian, whatever you want to call him, the story Lark, the Chosen One. He becomes a member of that crew, and then you on the Sith Warrior side become the new Emperor's Wrath. So that's how that works. Yeah, I would love to see him in game. That dude was pimp. Oh, God, he was full-blooded Sith. Ain't no messing around with that right there. I'll tell you what. Darth Skywalker question: would you rather run First Order or Night Sisters in Arena? Ew.
Night Sisters, right?
Yeah, I mean, First Order is pretty amazing. They're amazing in territory wars, but I think Night Sisters is just a little bit more fun, and you can do a little bit more with it. What do you think, Dr. Finn?
I'm biased because Night Sisters are one of the 4 teams that I run in Arena, so I do run them. My First Order aren't ready though, so I can't really comment on First Order.
And they do really well in territory wars, but this for the meta. There are some people that do run First Order all the way and do very well, but it's a big investment in gear and Zetas and stuff, and it's worth it. Don't get me wrong, but against some of the other meta teams, it's just not as strong. So I'd have to go with Night Sisters.
Yeah, that, and I mean, like, I would say Night Sisters would do better on defense, and that's the main thing with First Order is, like, they climb very well on offense, even in this meta, but they don't hold well on defense, and that's the big thing.
All right. Let's see. Tim Bedard question: who are you guys currently farming gearing? I am currently working on. I'm farming, of course, Scion. I'm farming Zombie. I'm farming Wicked, and then in Canteen I'm doing Super Pooper Commando because, well, I'm just gonna finish him. He's the last crew member I need besides Lando and his droid that just came out, and then I'm trying to think of who else I'm working on. Really, it's Wampa. That's it. What about you, Stoner?
I am working on my new tray I just got yesterday.
Very nice.
And I mean,
Congrats.
other than that, it's just thank you. Yeah, it's other than that, it's just trying to get my whole roster up to gear 11, and one at a time, putting up some more tunes to gear 12. So nothing in specific, really.
Dr. Finn?
So hard nodes, it's Haldo, Rose, and then Visa Smart with the refresh. So those are my hard nodes. The Cantina, I mentioned I was farming Marauder. I shifted to Geospy when the ships came out, but I'm not thrilled about that. Now the mods stuff came out, so now I'm farming speed mods. So that's what I'm farming there. Using my fleet, I 7-starred Scion last week, so I don't have anything that I need from the fleet table. So with my fleet energy and my regular energy that I have left over after I do my 3 refreshes and those hard nodes, I am farming gear to prep for my Treya unlock. I have a spreadsheet, and I'm trying to make sure I have all the gear ready to take her to gear 11 as soon as I unlock her, probably in about a month. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing farming-wise. Oh, and guild store currency I'm spending on gear and Kid Fisto shards.
Okay. All right, Fat Tenny 99 question: what is your guys' favorite monthly event? Ugh. I don't really have one. I mean, I'm just being honest. It's just
The Talzin and the Wicked Zeta challenges.
Well, yeah, those are nice because you get free. You get some seconds roll. Those are nice.
Every month, that's the best.
What about you, Dr. Finn?
Yeah. The Wicked and Talzin. I can't
the other
complain
ones
about Zeta.
they're fine. The mythics are fine. It's just.
I think we can just share that one because there's more than one.
I find them all equally fun and
specifically
invigorating.
the Wicked one, because I do like the Ewok battle against the AT, ST, and
the graphics. Mm-hmm.
I find that a fun battle. So
yeah,
I'll go with the Wicked event specifically.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Talzin one. I mean, and the fact that, V pointed that out the last time it came around, that now it's a 2-day event, so now we got 2 different attempts to get those 4 Zetas. So either way, you get 4, or you can potentially get 8 Zetas in 2 days.
Well, I'm looking more from the fun aspect. not
right.
The reward wise, you're right. I would definitely go Talzin. But if you ask me like favorite, which is the most fun for me to play, definitely the Wicked event, because I love that Ewok. The
we
regular
know you like your Ewoks. Yeah, I do like those graphics though, for sure.
All right, next question. Ouchie Dumpling. Hey, Ouchie. Question: with the mod changes and slicing coming, do you think that the mods for credits and fleet credits in the mod store are going to go away? That's what we speculated on. I mean, that was always a temporary thing. They did say that eventually that was going to go away. Do you think that's going to, when the new changes come out, Finn, that they're going to get rid of those and go back to the way it was?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Don't be shocked if it happens, guys.
I mean, they're reverting a lot of changes now, right? They just changed back that 8-roll hard nodes down to 5 and everything. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is also rolling back now to crystals. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because the only thing they really added was fleet currency, right? And the regular credits was still there. It was just a little bit rarer. It was regular credits and crystals. They replaced the crystals with the fleet energy, or the fleet credits. But now we have all this stuff coming in ships. Chances are they're going to be adding new ships as well, so we can probably see some of those coming to the fleet tables. And as part of that, you're going to need all your fleet credits anyway. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think we're going to find much more use for fleet credits. We've mentioned this before. They try to find ways to drain people of different currencies, because then all of a sudden you're going to need it for something else, right? So if they notice that people are accumulating too much of something, you get these shiny pieces of candy that distract you. You spend your currency there, you lower your stash. Now all of a sudden you need it, and people may pay in order to get more of it. So I think that's essentially what the mod battles was doing. Assumption again, they've been monitoring how many fleet credits people have stored up, and a lot of the whales had ridiculously high amounts. As we've talked, I think Mike said at one point he had like 100 million right before the fleet table. The fleet credits were used for mods, and then he basically got down to like 10. So I think that's what they were doing. They were trying to drain some of the higher end players of their fleet credits. Now they've been sufficiently drained, and so they're going to revert the changes, and then all of a sudden you're going to need fleet credits again. So
all right,
that's my guess.
Yeah.
Darth Skywalker question: why no Darth Onassi? I don't know why they don't have Fleet in the game. That was his nickname. He just wasn't one of the characters that. I mean, it doesn't mean that they won't bring him out eventually, but he's not a part of the 5 that they decided to bring out. So he was a famous character from that Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that. Soldier, pilot, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know why they didn't get Karth in. You have to ask CG that. I couldn't even begin to speculate why. Corey Dalmeyer question: If you have several tunes just 2 slots away from Gear 12, should you go ahead and make them golden or stay focused on what you've been gearing? Thoughts? Stay on target. Just because you can take people to Gear 12, if you're not going to use them, and you're working on another team, why not stick with what you're working on? We always say that. I mean, it's great to Gear 12, but I mean, if you're not getting any characters to that if you're dropping the ball on your other characters that you're working on, especially like a First Order or Night Sister or something like that, am I crazy on that one, Stoner?
No, man, I totally agree.
Right. Do you disagree with that, Dr. Fan?
No. If you're going to use them, use it. I have several characters I can take to Gear 12, but I'm not because I'm saving gear for Treya, so I'm staying on target with that. So
there you go. See?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Captain
Warrior, are you here? Can't tell.
Is Warrior here?
Warrior's here, yeah.
It looks like he joined the call, but I haven't seen him say anything, so I'm not sure.
Warrior, come out and play. Well, look, everybody, it's Warrior from Warrior Presents.
Yeah, sorry I jumped on so late, and sorry I missed last week. It's been chaos, so I just wanted to try and hop on if I could, and I was able to.
That's what happens when you're a pimp. I mean, you're not a big deal like Grande Patron, but you are a pimp.
Yeah, I at least pimp that free internet, that's for sure.
That's word, see? That's science. Warrior, welcome. How things been going with you, friend?
Good, really, really good. Just really, really busy, but a lot of things are working out that need to be worked out, and stuff's going on in personal life. And I have, people visiting and trips and birthdays and, real life. And so I know that the worst thing you can do on YouTube is be inconsistent, because if you're inconsistent, people start watching other people. But I don't have a choice in life. I have real life, and it's always going to trump.
God forbid you actually put family in real life first. I mean, Warrior, what's wrong with you?
So, but I heard you guys talking about some of the KOTOR and stuff. So that's exciting. I guess that's new this week.
Yeah, we were just talking about your video.
Yeah, I didn't even really have time to do a video this week.
Well, the mod stuff.
The mod stuff. Do you want to answer? I'm sure you got questions about it. Do you know what we're referring to? The mod merging?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people are curious, but so what happened was basically what they're going to do is you're going to farm for basically a salvage type piece. It's going to be for mods, and then you're going to modify mods with them. When we got the notes, it was 8 pages of the smallest text I've ever seen, and it was, you guys can't read this. You have to paraphrase. That's fine, but how do I explain farming for mod salvage and merging them without saying that? So I basically just said, you're going to be taking some mods and mashing them together. But the mod splicing is the only part of my video I think people get or have gotten confused about. But again, I was told to paraphrase, which was a weird request, but it was what they asked, so I tried to paraphrase. The other thing is half of what was in that document they sent us wasn't in the final edit, and things were changed verbally. The tonal text was changed, so it's just hard for me to make a video on something that is really big, needing to be paraphrased, and actually changed over time. In fact, there was some stuff in there that they didn't even discuss. So I'm glad I, didn't have time to make a video previous to when I made it, because I just didn't. It would have ended up needing retraction and stuff, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I just didn't have time to even make a video on something important like a huge update, which is really kind of sad, because those are my favorite. Some of my favorite videos are, getting to share breaking news. That's kind of the whole point, is being able to tell the world about all these new things and stuff. But
yeah,
other
I
than
was
that,
subscribed because of it. I couldn't be your friend anymore.
Yeah,
no, I didn't do that.
Well, I just wanted to be like you and do like a podcast. So there you go.
Eat it. The new characters, man. I mean, what are you thinking? I think Revan's just around. Our Lord and Savior's coming. The pathway has been laid out.
Yeah, I think Revan's coming. In the video, I say it's basically a for sure thing, and it is. It's basically a for sure thing. Now, it could be a single step process or a double step process based on how intricate they want to make it. They've always, with legendary characters, been basically antagonistic in nature. So that means that, you have to use first order to get BB-8s. Either opposite, they're antagonistic in nature. And so, this wouldn't make sense for Revan if that they hold true to that, but I could see them having a unique story for Revan, meaning that he has his people come and save him, and these are all people that are interconnected with him, that helped him through the Jedi Civil War. And in fact, when he died through that, Bestia Shan was the one that brought him back to life using the Force. I mean, like this, she's like connected to him in a way.
Married.
Yeah, and that's like his, that was his robot, and I mean, just all the pieces here are Revan pieces. Now, they could go antagonistic like they have in the past, and if they do that, then what's going to happen is we're going to get Darth Malak because they fought, and then we would get Darth Malak. And then what would happen after that is then they would have all the pieces for Revan for like dark side, light side type situation, and then you might have to use both of them for some weird like legendary event we haven't had before for Revan. But I think that they're these are pieces to a puzzle that is going to end with Revan in the game for a fact. There's no doubt. They're trying to play it off like, we're just putting in more cool KOTOR characters. But trust me, there are 1,000 cool KOTOR characters. They picked 5 that have personal history with Revan.
Right. We read the wiki on those during when we did our special stream on Thursday. Everything mentioned Revan.
Yeah. And I mean, like, Zalbar and stuff. I mean, like, he ran with Revan on his during the Starforge quests. Yeah, during the Starforge quests, like he was like his dude. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, it just doesn't make sense because these aren't even like guys that kind of knew of Revan or were around Revan. Like these are like, this is his crew, dude. This is his crew.
Minus Star.
World Star. It just doesn't make any sense. To bring these 5 specific, they're just so weirdos and randos out of the KOTOR without there being purpose. And then, of course, you've got HK-47 being reworked this month, which was the clue to what they're doing. And then, of course, they're bringing in other KOTOR. What's really cool, and I'm super excited, is they said there wasn't a Jedi rework. They confirmed that. But there was a lot of speculation that there would still be new Jedi added into the game, and bing, 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 we've got a winner. There's a couple new Jedi coming into the game, and I am sure that these Jedi are going to be good because they're new, because every character released in the last year even Rose has quality to the kits. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that's come out in the last year has been bad. Even the crappiest characters are better than some of the better characters from 2.5 years ago. So it doesn't matter how bad these kits are, they're going to be better than 80% of the characters. I mean, I gear 12 every character now just because all the new characters are legit. They're too legit.
And following that too, you mind if I ask you a question, Warrior? The new characters, regardless, with all this, speculation for Revan and everything being up in the air, and you being a pay-to-play player, are you potentially planning on 7-starring any of these characters, or just getting them up to 5 stars right away, anything like that, even without the kit reveals?
Yeah, my strategy always is with characters is just get them just do 4-star gear 11 and have them prepped ready to go for gear 12, and then. Play in 3 months, just pop them over. If for some reason a character, once kit reveal happens, is like so redonkulous like Nest or Scion, then that possibility is there. But those are super far and few between. But the one thing people say about Jedi is we need a rework. We need a rework. Why? Because there's some good pieces, right? And there's some really good pieces. There's just a few missing pieces to really make it click. a missing leader, or maybe it's a missing attacker, or maybe it's a support character that just makes it really hard to kill them, or whatever it is. But there's just a couple missing pieces. And I have a lot of people that are now running Jedi, and they're doing well. I mean, they are dropping 30 to 50 points, but they're able to go up to the #1 spot every day. It's a long climb. And because when they were doing Sith, they were dropping 20, now they're dropping 40. So they're getting a little bit targeted, and I don't think that they would drop necessarily any further than Sith. It's just, I think the people on their shards are trying to make a statement, by that. But they're able to walk through like a hot knife through butter to all these Sith teams with their Jedi, which is really kind of cool. But I think these pieces that are coming are going to be those missing pieces that I've been asking, and everybody has been asking for the last years, actually. I mean, we've never really had a true Jedi. I mean, we had for a very, very short period of time, basically Qui-Gon Jinn with Rey and Royal Guard. That doesn't count. That's one dude, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then about 6 months after that, we had a period of time where it was right after Qui-Gon Jinn got reworked with his Zeta, right when Zetas came out, and he was the lead, and you'd have like him, Yoda because he was fast, General Kenobi, and some people used Old Ben, and then, you know what I mean? But it was like that little Jedi rework after that only lasted maybe 2 months, and there wasn't a lot of people that went on board on that particular Jedi meta, and that's it. That was all they ever had, was a couple of superficial months, and not everybody got a chance to jump onto that. So it'll be nice to see them viable again, and kind of up there with Resistance teams and Rebel teams and Sith teams, because those teams can still, Rex teams, Hodgepodge teams, they're all up there now in the top 10 and can compete very soundly in the top 10. So.
Have you done anything with your Grandmaster Yoda 2 Warrior?
Yes, I have. I have given him his leadership, and my next Zeta, which is in a couple days, will be his unique, which I should have done it the opposite their way, but it didn't really matter for me. I have a really good Jedi team that I'm structuring for Territory Wars offense, and it's going to help me slice through basically whatever team I want. So his rework, while some people may scoff at it, has turned him into being able to make a really overpowered offensive team. And he's a tool I have sitting at Gear 12 with no Zetas. So why not, pop the Zetas on him. And then I have some plans for bounty hunters, because I really done nothing with them. And so Bosk is going to get both of his. And I'm going to try and work on some bounty hunter love. So those are the two things I'm doing. But then, of course, they had to go bring out 5 new characters. Dang it, But I'm going to stay on target. I'm going to finish my Jedi team for offense on Territory Wars, and I'm going to finish my bounty hunter team for probably defense, but maybe offense on Territory War. And then I'll worry about these new characters and getting them high later on. But I'm pretty confident one of them, if not all of them, they're gonna have ridiculously solid kits. And I have a feeling some of it's going to be anti-Sith. It's just the way they work. They bring out new characters to kind of counter the current meta. Hopefully nothing's too overpowered to ruin Traya, because Traya, there's a lot of people that have yet to get her, and it would really suck to see her fall out of favor before a good grip of people actually even get her.
Right,
yeah.
I'm using her in my arena team, and she is just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I just got her yesterday, and it's like, I want to be able to use her for a little while before she falls out of place, at least.
Yeah. So if you ever are fighting Traya versus Traya and you want to have some fun and really totally cripple the other team, don't isolate their Darth Nihilus or their Scion like a lot of people do. Isolate their Traya.
Right. It blocks the cleanse out.
It trashes the opposing team really, really bad, which is really awesome. And then you can Darth Nihilus their Darth Nihilus, and the game's over. You can just hit auto after that.
Right.
So let's get to some questions here, and we're going to rapid fire since we've been answering all the other questions. We're going to rapid fire on Warrior here to get him caught up a little bit. So Captain Blackbeard asks, question, will the 12 Days of Spring achievement ever come back? What do you think, Warrior?
Nope, they're going to leave it there, so it's like something under our skin for the rest of our lives.
Nathaniel Miller, do you think speed primary arrows will lose any viability with the new mod changes?
Nope, it's going to be a big money pit for whales.
Pretty much. Thane Kyrell says, question: since CG is focusing on Old Republic, what do you think are the chances we get the Eternal Twins to beat both Jedi and Sith?
Small possibility.
And
the reason why I say small possibility is they announce certain characters, and then that's like basically it kind of thing. When we started doing Jedi, we thought we were going to get a rework. Didn't they announced the new KOTOR characters, and this is probably it. If we get any other KOTOR characters, it's going to be like a legendary character, just one, more than likely. It's a lot of engineering that they're doing for the mod stuff, and it's what was within their abilities, and so the characters that they're doing are kind of side projects. They got different people working on different stuff, so it's all kind of working at the same time, but there's a lot of certain projects take everybody, you know what I mean? So it's really hard for them to do too much.
I can't see those guys coming in anytime soon, but then again, we got 18 months, Warrior, between now and when the new Star Wars movie comes out. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to have to, for content and stuff, they're going to have to put out. I mean, we're seeing the beginning with KOTOR, but where do you think they're going to go in these next 18 months? I mean, I've said they'll do some reworks, get some characters caught up, and introduce some new factions and characters. But what do you think?
Yeah, they're going to continue on their trajectory, which is, anytime they basically go an every other month type thing. This is how they've gone in the past. 1 month is kind of a rework. Let's take a look at an older faction and give some love to 2 or 3 characters from an older faction that's maybe less viable. And then they have the next month they introduce 1 or 2 new characters. A lot of times it's just a single one, 1 or 2 characters, and so they're constantly infusing with those new characters. And those new characters are good. A lot of them aren't you have to have them, but once you have them, for example, Sith Marauder was one of those characters. Now with all 5 pieces of Gear 12, he's redonkulously overpowered in a Sith team. So I mean, if you can get those other Gear 12 pieces, he's sick. But when he came out, he was good, not great. And then what they do is they go back and forth, and then what happens is they have some large major content pieces. This is stuff they work on for an overarching period of time, such as 6 months to a year, and that is things like the raids, blah blah blah. So the mod management stuff, they're kind of getting to a close on. When I'm surprised they're so close to being done with it, because that was as much engineering basically and computer programming as a new raid. And so we just had the Sith raid completed, and here we are less than 6 months later with the mod management stuff done. But they'll continue to work on in-game development of different things that kind of overarch over 6 months, and in the meantime they do those little reworks, new characters, and then when movies come out, of course that takes up a couple of months of them. There is General Grievous, who's in the game. He's a legendary character, kind of in their mind is, and they want to do a rework for him. They've expressed that in numerous interviews with lots of YouTubers, and they want to do it right, so they need time. So it'll probably take a couple of months for them to really make sure that happens in a way that's amazing. I could see them adding another capital ship in that meantime to continue suppressing all of our growth capability in ships, because this is the deal for ships. For the longest time, we all had everything maxed, or at least a lot of us did, and now we're all struggling to just try truly figure out who should I upgrade, what backup, which guys should I use, and they wanted that. Now that they've got that, where everybody's back to struggling to trying to figure out what's the next step, that's what they want you to be at, so that way you're always looking towards progress, because if you don't do progress, you just don't stop caring. So to do that, they probably bring out a capital ship with him. So I could see him in the next 4 months or so, and then if there's something going down in December, they'll probably focus on that. So I don't know, it's pretty laid out already just by looking at their history.
All right. Let's see. Next question, Alex Andrew Gross. Is it worth to spend ship energy on farming gear from stage 4 and stage 5? How about refreshing? What do you think about that?
Are you asking me?
Yes, we're firing your questions because we already did like 30 something questions. It's all you, Warrior.
Sweet. So I know a lot of people that are doing gear out of ships farms, and the thing I think about that is like it's just one more avenue for gear. And so there's times I find myself even farming for gear because I need like 7 more pieces, and I've got, I can get some out of ships, I can get some off the light side node with what energy I have left, and I can get some out of like the shard shop, and then I get what I need. And it's like, so it's just one more avenue, so take advantage of that. But the one thing I do kind of focus on farming is on the light side. I can't remember. It's an easy node, but on the ship's node, but it's the easy, not hard side. There's actually Gear 12 med pack pieces, the purple med pack Gear 12. I farm the heck out of that because everybody should have their med packs on them, and that's the kind of the purple salvage you need. And it's got a decent drop rate. It's not like some of the gold pieces. I got a gold piece that's just like everybody needs it, those Mark 9 whatever, and I'm trying to get those, and it's like I get like 3 a day. It's stupid. But this I get 4 to 8 pieces a day, and that's really good for the purple. So I've been farming that. I can't remember which one it is, but it's the med pack purple piece. But it's just one more avenue for you to get gear, and I mean there's so many avenues now. When you pull up gear, it's like sometimes there's 5 different places you can get that piece of gear, and you can go from 0 to like 27 in one day without spending any crystals. It's like, what? So it's pretty awesome.
All right. Next question from Darth Skywalker. Question: will we ever get Delta Squad clones?
I wouldn't put getting additional clones out. Because this is the deal. They had kind of a moment of glory when Zetas got put out, just like Jedi, and it lasted pretty good because they had raid viability, especially in like phase 2, phase 4. But I don't see them going crazy with the clones. So what I see is something like an infusion to kind of bring them back to life. So maybe a couple. Maybe 2 or 3 max, and that would be one of those rework months that we would see in the future. I could see something like that, and then they might, with the new characters, it would be whatever it is that's caused them to not work anymore, which was Barisafi. That was basically the one character that killed the clones. She's such a traitor. But yeah, so I don't know. They'll have to bring out
at
least.
I'd love to get Dark Side Barisafi in there.
Yeah.
So, Warrior, Grande has expressed a concern with any kind of new clones, and I don't know if you feel the same way, so I just wanted to ask you. Rex has never left the meta.
Grande,
and if you look at his lead ability... What?
Ronnie's in the Discord, or is in the Skype now. The big deal.
Oh, he is?
Grande.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go.
Driving.
Look, we got the big deal and the pimp together.
I'm telling you. What's up, Warrior? How you doing, birthday brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
All right, so Grande, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of the concerns that Grande has had with regards to clones is like Rex has never left the meta, and his lead ability is really good. But if you look at the bonus that it gives to clones, if they introduce any good clones, like Rex could become super, super OP with the clone team.
Yeah, but look where the meta's going. Like Emperor Palpatine and his turn meter gain is easily as good and OP as Rex and his ability to turn meter gain. So that's not, I wouldn't say that that's an unfair advantage. Rex is the reason why Rex is so amazing is because while he may be simple, easy to gear, and really easy to gear, and no Zetas. I mean, he is literally a free-to-play friend. Easy to get, easy to gear. Anyone can use him and get him. And if you're free to play and you don't have him, you're doing yourself a disservice. But his kit is simple. It just says basically when the opposing team is whooping your butt, it's going to speed your team up so your team has a fighting chance in hell. That's basically what his kit says. And so that's what makes him so powerful, because in any situation where other teams are doing massive turn meter, either turn meter manipulation or turn meter gain through an ability, it basically almost always involves triggering turn meter through Rex and giving your team a fighting chance. So it's really, really hard to
crits, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I've said is that it's, we love Rex, but Rex is 15% turn meter to all allies. And then underneath it says, and 30% turn meter to clones. And
no. It's 15% to clones and 7.5%.
That's right.
To everybody
You're
else.
Right. You're right.
Yep.
Right.
That's not a ton, except for when the opposing team is literally killing you with 5 crits in one shot. At least you get 30% turn meter out of that, and now your entire team is going now before their team. So that's a really cool reward, and I can see your concern with clones, because they bring out 2 really good clones, solid clones to add. Now you've got Rex, this amazing leader. But, the leader they really wanted, and I think they're going to continue to have people to want to use, is Cody, which means that they would have to try and find a replacement for, Rex or, maybe Echo or something like that. And because, there's certain ones that are just kind of staples they want you to continue to use. So I don't know if he would even be a viable piece of that puzzle with the introduction of more, but it could be.
The easiest thing to do would be to release something like Delta Squad, right? Or release a bunch of different clones from the Clone Wars animated series that was on for 7 years or whatever. That would really be the easiest way to add some clones. I just like clones. I empathized with their struggles, and I felt like they were a really interesting faction. So, and I feel like it would be nice to round them out some more if we were going into some kind of, prequel type era where we kind of finish out some of the prequel characters. But who knows?
All right. Next question from Ancient Farmer. Question for Warrior. What's the best triumvirate arena lineup using Traya as lead instead of Palpatine?
Instead of using what? What's the best Traya team instead of using what?
So what's the best triumvirate arena lineup using Traya as lead instead of Lord Palpatine?
The absolute best Traya lead team, and I don't know why you would do that to yourself, but okay. This is the deal. Everyone on my leaderboard wants to use Traya as lead, including me, and we try. And then when we wake up and out of the top 50, we're like, what the hell? Because most of us don't fall out of the top 10. So it's like, she can't be the lead. You put Emperor Palpatine in, and then you wake up and I'm in 6th place, or I'm in 4th place. I'm like, what the hell? What it does is it just makes for a better team to not have Traya at lead right now because of the Emperor Palpatine meta. But things can change when Emperor Palpatine falls out of favor, which could happen. Traya lead could come into favor because she has a solid lead. But if you're going to put her as lead and have the triumvirate, the bottom 2 that are going to make everybody, and I mean everybody, absolutely unequivocally hate you and go around you, and you probably won't drop, is going to be Nest really, really fast, and Mother Talzin really, really fast. And what's going to happen is you're going to get dazed, and then almost immediately you're going to have Plague put on that. Prevent it from being dispellable. And it will also prevent you from dispelling any of the debuffs that are occurring from the triumvirate. Nest and Mother Talzin, there's 2 really independent, solid characters that are wicked, and putting them with the triumvirate is gross. I use Emperor Palpatine as a lead because I'm going against other Emperor Palpatine teams, and I can't do Traya lead because of that. And then I'm using the triumvirate and Nest. And I'm using Nest not as a crutch, but as a control piece. I know a lot of people are upset. They're like, oh, she's stupid, or she's, way too overpowered, or she's ridiculous. And, people use her as a crutch. In fact, I've had some TI guys tell me that, anyone that uses Nest is using a crutch. It's like, no, she's a control piece, like Han Solo. What the heck? Why would you not use a control piece in your arena team? But she's annoying. Nest is annoying enough, not impossible to be, but annoying enough that when people are climbing, they see my team and go, God, I don't want to deal with that. So they just go over me because they just don't want to have to deal with, trying to take her out. She's a bit of a tard, and she can hit, really hard because she gets stacking offense and stuff. And by the end of the battle, with all of the buffs and debuffs gaining and losing with Emperor Palpatine lead, I mean, she's hitting for 40, 50,000, which is one-shotting Treyas and things like that. So a lot of people just go around that team. But yeah, Mother Talzin and Nest.
All right. So those are all the questions that are normal questions. Now we get to some fun questions. Chubby Donut said, "Shout out, please." Well, shout out to you, Chubby Donut. Dave.
Oh my God, Chubby Donut, that's funny.
God, Jesus. Stephen Burgess says, "Question: What's the interest rate on a Wells Fargo car for someone who has less than perfect credit?" Well, Rodney, I'm glad you're here because you are the representative for Wells Fargo. What do you say?
So, anybody can get it. It'll just, if you don't have really great credit, we'll just take your firstborn and, your right arm and your right leg. It'll be fine. We need your right arm and your right leg. We need your right arm and your right leg anyway, because at some point we are going to make a C-3PO.
Okay.
So we're going to need that. And then, if we take your firstborn, it might be the chosen one. So if we do those two things, we'll definitely give you a line of credit at Wells Fargo.
There you go. All right. DB question on your D&D stream. Okay, it's a D&D question. How long does it take to prep to be I guess he means dungeon master? Any recommendations of a game for first time doing D&D? How many people do you need to play them? So, all right. So as a dungeon master, so what you want to do is, if you have people that have played the game before, then you can kind of create your own story. Read a lot of the books, the supplementary books. There's lots of story arcs and stuff in there that you can kind of go through. If none of you have ever played before, they have box sets where you can just get this game set. It already has a pre-made characters and things of that nature, and you can play a simple, short, to-the-point D&D campaign until you get used to it, and then you can get into the books. There are a lot of great resources online, too. I always follow Critical Role. They're really, really fun. They're all the voice actors that you hear in a lot of cartoons that you would never even know that they did all the voice work for. Like Matthew Mercer, he did the voice of Luke Skywalker, and I'm trying to think of who else he did for the latest Battlefront 2 game. So there are a lot of videos out there. D&D Beyond has a lot of information about characters and things. Jordan with the PH has some good stuff, and then I think the Dungeon Cast has some good stuff that you can read and listen to, how they break down all the classes and things of that nature. But being a dungeon master is just, for me, what I do is I have read, the best way to be a dungeon master is to read. I know that's an outdated concept, but read like all the Forgotten Realms books. Read books along this nature. It gets you introduced to the characters. It gets you introduced to the world. It gives you an idea about creating characters, because it gives you a flow of how things work. And then when you go to the dungeon, when you go to D&D, then you've got a lot of these ideas in your brain working out. But if you have more questions about it, DB, get with me offline. I'll get with you. Thank Hyrel. Stoner Jedi has a stoner baby with a stoner laugh? ? That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, my little man laughs all the time. I mean, the only time he gets mad is when he's hungry or when he's ready for bed. So
sounds like Finn.
It's hilarious, man. He's got such a funny laugh. I love it.
Wait, if that means what that means to be stoner baby, then Finn is a stoner himself.
Oh man.
Do we call him Stoner Padawan now?
I don't think he's reached Padawan level yet. I think he's a stoner baby.
Oh God.
Okay.
Let's see. Brygon Ruby question: Is Stoner Jedi a title or a nickname? If it's a title, I would like to formally challenge.
I just got it over time.
Yeah. I think that was from Sanely Read the Soulless one who did that. And then last one for Warrior, Danilo Papaya says, question for Warrior: who is more likely to enter the game? Admiral Dalla, Captain Admiral Piet, Mara Jade, or the OG Millennium Falcon with Rebel tag?
Mara Jade.
Don't tease me, Warrior.
Yeah, the Millennium
Before the
Falcon
Millennium
that
Falcon, I
everybody
can't believe we still in this game. We don't have our OG
Millennium Falcon
Falcon.
that everybody wants is never going to happen. I'm sorry, you guys. I
God!
don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Sadly, the one that everybody wanted is the one that we'll probably never get. You've got two. They're the older version from the newer movie and the newer version from the older movie, and you're not going to get from the original trilogy. I don't think. I mean, we got 5 Han Solos, so anything's possible, but I just don't see it. The Mara Jade, I could see that happening.
Well, we don't even have an OG Chewbacca in the game.
You know right now how easy it would be. They already have the characters in the game to just add that Millennium Falcon and then just make it a pay-to-play ship for 6 months, like they do when they say 3 months, but they do it for 6 months anyway because they're OG, thugs like that. And then they would make a lot of money off of it, but they haven't, and they've had that window for a ridiculously long time. So I just don't see it happening.
All right. Well, that's all the questions and stuff for Jedi Academy today. Dr. Finn, you want to close us out, my friend? Is Dr. Finn, medicine woman, there? He's not there, so I will close us out. So if you're listening to this, you're listening to the Jedi Academy. We do this every Saturday from 10 to about right now 12 p.m. We, because you're here. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. But also these other great channels. Where can folks check you out at?
Well, they can check me out on Twitter, obviously, at Warrior Present. I'm on the Facebook page where there's 60,000 people on, and of course my YouTube channel. I actually have 2, the one for roster reviews and then my normal channel called Warrior Presents. If you start typing in Warrior Presents, you'll find it real easy. And hopefully this week, starting like this next coming week, I'll be kind of back on a okay schedule on videos, and so hopefully I'll have at least 2 or 3 videos a week coming out, hopefully within the next short period of time. And I'm also about 2 weeks away from being done with about 2 weeks away, I think, about being done with all my roster reviews. And then I'm going to hopefully be able to evolve into some follow-up videos on that channel, but slower, obviously, not 5 a week like I have been with roster reviews. But kind of some fun follow-ups where we bring maybe some of my patrons on to talk about where they started, kind of the advice they got from me, where they went, and how they've progressed over the years. It'll be kind of a fun little like live stream style video, but probably a edited down for time purposes video. So kind of excited about doing some of those fun videos. I think they'll be good times.
Very nice. Stoner Jedi, where can folks check you out?
Yeah, check me out on YouTube, Takedown Games, and doing my Star Wars Galaxy Hero videos and a couple other games too as well. And just got my tray yesterday too, so putting out my content on my tray coming up soon, and maybe some alternate fifths, some different team comps for Arena, and some other stuff for the Sith raid like I've been doing. And if you like what you see, subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate having me on Jedi Academy too, as always.
All right. And remember, guys, we got some more stuff going on. So tonight we'll have the Mature Channel stream, and then tomorrow we'll have the D&D stream. The next week we got a lot of fun stuff with giveaways of Battlefront 2 and all kinds of stuff. So best way to do it is to make guys is like and support. Remember, we got our Patreon up now. We got a lot of stuff happening. So join our Discord. Support these other channels. Hang out with the community. That's what it's all about. And if you have any questions, just hook up with us. And we're always around to help with your Star Wars Galaxy Heroes questions or any game that we're playing. We're willing to help you out with. So on behalf of myself, the Great Warrior Presents, the Big Deal Grande Patron, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman, Stoner Jedi, and the Baby. Thank you all for being here for Jedi Academy. We'll see you next time. And everyone have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.